Gagging, vomiting, not chewing, choosing specific types of food are things we deal with every single day when it comes to feeding our children on the spectrum. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about strategies that you can use with your child who's having feeding challenges so that life will become kind of better. Yeah, feeding is a very complex activity, very complex, more than what we can even think. And we know that 9 out of 10 children usually experience feeding challenges, and this usually ranges from them preferring only starch, only snacks, only processed food, or that need of sameness. So they want, food with the same texture, food with the same color, sometimes even some specific types of brands. And sometimes because of their sensory processing, they're not able to know whether they're full or they're hungry and what are they supposed to do when somebody feels whatever they're feeling. Okay, so as a result, they usually have very reduced diversity when it comes to their feed, and so they risk deficiencies. And I did a video on that. Please go ahead and check it. It should be appearing somewhere here. Then they are also at risk of constipation because sometimes even digestive processes are also interfered with. Then also they have disturbances in sleep, and either they're underweight or overweight, really depending on where they're struggling with the most when it comes to feeding. So how do we do this? Please, if you're here for the first time, this is Lema, and I hope you're going to be able to stick around till the end of this video. So the first thing that you need to do is establish hunger routine. Only feed your child when they are hungry, maximally hungry. Okay, and we usually say you have to you feed your child every 3 hours. Between the main meals, make sure there's a snack in between. A feeding time should not exceed more than 45 minutes. The goal is 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, after 45 minutes, please close that process and let your child do something else. Then the second thing that you need to do is identify preferred foods in different food categories. We know we have different types of food categories. So we have starches, we have vitamins and minerals, we have proteins, then of course we have water, and then we have fruits and vegetables, okay? And we have carbohydrates, that also includes a bit of sugars and also a bit of oils. So the whole idea is in every category, this mentioned category, make sure your child has some type of food. And how do you do this? By introducing them to these foods. I discourage you to introduce your child to junk, because the odds are our children are more likely going to choose junk over the correct type of food that you want them to learn to eat. So for them to not have that as an option, never introduce it. So only give your child options of food that are healthy. The other thing is, when you're introducing them to some types of food, for any reason, if this food is packaged, remember to remove it out of its package. And we do this because our kids can really want to maintain sameness, and it sometimes can go to an extent where they want only specific type of brand of whatever food you want them to learn to eat. So if you're serving cereals, remove the cereals from the package, put it in a bowl, and let them take the cereals in a bowl without them knowing what brand I'm taking today. This will help you in case you have to travel, or if for any reason that brand gets out of the market, you'll not really have to go through any issues, because you have now to teach them to change to something different. Then the third thing is create meals mixing the preferred foods and also the new foods that you want them to you're trying to introduce them to. So as much as your child has a preferred food, that doesn't mean now they are not going to be taking these other types of food. You expect to introduce your child to these other foods that they don't like so much. Okay, and how you do it is by mixing them, the preferred meal, the preferred food, with the not so preferred food. And when you're doing it, please be very patient with your child, be very patient with yourself. And what we know is it may take up to 20 attempts before this child can actually take this food and put it in their mouth, chew and swallow. So please be patient. How do you do this? For example, you're serving whatever your child likes, just put a little bit of it also in the mix. At first, they'll want to touch it, they'll want to play with it, they may end up falling down, they'll not even take it. That's still okay. That's a process made. The following day, try to see if they'll be able to bite, try to see if you can put it close to their skin so that they are comfortable. Try to bite it and try to, ask them if they can also bite. The whole idea is take it so slowly, a step at a time. As we said, it can take up to 20 attempts. So keep on trying, be very patient, and even more important, be consistent. Then the fourth thing is also avoid to to put a lot of sameness in the way you feed your child. By this I mean when it comes to their spoons and their bowls and their bottles, and the color or the color coding that you use at home, try to mix and match a lot of things. Try to put variety. Okay, you see, usually in a typical child, it doesn't matter where you're going to put the food, they'll eventually eat it. That's really the goal. So just because your child is used of yellow spoons and yellow bowls, and that does not mean now every single time you're going to be putting food in the yellow spoons and yellow bowls. Okay, when you're introducing food, try as much as you can to have yellow bowls and pink bowls and blue bowls and purple bowls and purple spoons. The whole idea is you want to put it in their mind that the color of the bowl does not have anything to do with the food. Okay, so if for any reason you've traveled and you forgot your yellow spoon, this child will be able to take a purple spoon and eat. Then the fifth thing is for children who are vomiting and gagging, and this used to be one of my biggest problems. Okay, that you're feeding your child and along the way they are going to gag and vomit. It got to a point where we had to put two bowls. You have an extra bowl of food, you also have an extra bowl of empty bowl, so that whenever they vomit, they're going to vomit into that bowl. And when that happens, trust me, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't even talk about it. Tell them sorry, wipe them. If you have to change their clothes, change their clothes, and then let them continue feeding. Okay, for there should not be any time where this child feels like, if I vomit, then I'm going to stop feeding, because they'll use that to make sure that whenever they're feeding something they don't like, then they'll just go up, vomit, and then they'll know, okay, I'm done with this food. For children who are not able to chew, now this is usually very common. Kids are not able to chew, especially those on the spectrum, because sometimes it's the weakness of their muscles, sometimes it's the sensitivity on their teeth. As we said, the process of feeding is very complex, and our children feel things that most people are not able to feed unless you are neurodivergent. So what you need to remember is, if your child is not able to chew, you may need to always prepare your food and serve it as puree. And as you do that, make sure the food is balanced. You have variety in there, and all the nutrients, or the necessary nutrients, are in that particular puree. Okay, and even as you do that, try to make it get a bit chunkier as the child grows, and also as you're being advised by your occupational therapist. Okay, but the key thing is, if your child has difficulty in swallowing, try as much as you can to also do face exercises, the chewing muscle exercises, things like blowing the balloon, things like blowing bubbles, things like sticking the tongue out, making faces. The whole idea is to strengthen the muscles, and as the child grows, you're going to also see that they're going to start attempting to chew, and eventually most of the kids, they don't chew. Some at 5, some at 6, some at 7. But don't give up. Keep on doing it, and it will get better with time. Then the seventh thing is constipation. So constipation is quite common with our children, and with these children, you have to make sure that they take enough fiber by taking lots of fruits and lots of vegetables. They drink enough water. Okay, and also what you need to do is reduce their milk intake, especially the animal milk intake. Okay, if you can afford the plant-based milk, that's better. But if you can't, then just cancel meat out of their diet. Okay, wheat, because of the gluten, for some kids that can also be a problem. And if this is becoming a problem, please remember to see a pediatrician so that they're able to see if there's going to be a need of them giving you a stool softener. Then the eighth thing is, please remember that because of them being picky, sometimes you may need supplements so that they are able to compensate, and you don't want your child to start suffering from deficiencies. As I said, I did a video, you can go check it. And in this video, we talk about the common deficiencies and what you need to do about it. So I really hope this was helpful. Until then, bye bye.